So we're taking a deep dive into AI in the workplace today, how it's changing things up for all of us. Very fascinating stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, there's this whole other side of AI that's been kind of under the radar, and that's what we're calling shadow AI. Think about it like this. Someone on your team using ChatGPT to write reports. Or maybe the design team is using a free AI image generator,
Oh, yeah, I see what you mean.
all without IT having a clue. That's shadow AI in action.
Exactly. It's any AI tool that's being used in a company
Hmm.
without any kind of official approval or oversight. And the thing is, it's more common than you might think. Some studies show over 60% of employees are already using AI tools in their work every day, and a lot of that's probably unauthorized.
Wow, 60%. That's huge. So why is shadow AI so common? Is it just people trying to avoid red tape?
Well, there are a few reasons why this is happening. From the employee's point of view, there's a big desire to be more productive, to be more efficient. And AI tools can really help with that. They can automate tasks, analyze data, even generate content, which
Hmm.
is a huge help in today's fast-paced work environment.
Yeah, it's like having an extra set of hands.
Precisely. And then there's the accessibility of these tools. We're talking cloud-based AI services that are often free or very low cost. So it's super easy to just sign up and
Hmm.
start using them without going through any official channels.
Yeah, I can see the appeal there. But that also sounds like it could be a security nightmare.
It definitely can be if it's not managed properly, and that's where the potential downsides of shadow AI come in. One of the biggest worries is data security and privacy. Employees might unknowingly be feeding sensitive company data into these unauthorized AI platforms, and that can lead to data breaches, leaks, or misuse.
So it's like opening a back door to your company's most sensitive information.
Yeah, you could say that. And the implications can be pretty serious. We saw this happen with the Samsung source code leak earlier this year. Employees were using ChatGPT, and they accidentally exposed some very valuable code. It really highlights how quickly shadow AI can create major security problems.
Yeah, that's a pretty stark reminder of the risks. But before we get too deep into the downsides, I'm curious, can shadow AI ever be a good thing?
That's a great question, and it is important to recognize that shadow AI is often driven by people who really want to improve things. Employees who adopt these solutions are often the ones on the front lines. They're the ones seeing opportunities to work smarter and faster. And they might find AI tools that can streamline their workflow, enhance how they interact with customers, or even uncover innovative approaches that wouldn't have been discovered through traditional channels.
So it's kind of like a grassroots innovation movement happening within a company.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. It's about individuals taking the initiative and finding ways to do their jobs better. And sometimes these experiments lead to breakthroughs that can benefit the whole organization. Like imagine a customer service rep who starts using an AI chatbot
Hmm.
to handle those routine inquiries. That frees them up to focus on more complex issues, and it might even reveal patterns in customer questions that could lead to improvements in products or services.
So the takeaway here is that while there are definitely risks with shadow AI, it's not inherently bad. It's about finding that balance,
Right.
right?
Absolutely. Instead of just viewing shadow AI as a threat, it's more helpful to see it as a symptom, a sign that there's a gap between the tools employees actually need to do their jobs well and the tools that they're officially given.
So it's not just about trying to shut down shadow AI completely. It's more about understanding why it's happening and addressing the root causes.
Exactly. And a big part of that
Hmm.
is providing employees with access to secure, approved AI solutions that actually meet their needs. If you give them the right tools, they're less likely to go rogue.
That makes a lot of sense. But with so many different AI tools out there, how do companies even begin to choose the right ones?
Well, that's where things can get a little tricky. When it comes to enterprise-grade AI solutions, security has to be the top priority. You want to make sure any AI tool used in your organization is built with data protection in mind. And more companies are realizing the benefits of keeping things close to home.
You mean by choosing on-premise solutions instead of relying on cloud-based ones?
Exactly. With on-premise solutions, your data stays within your own servers, which gives you a lot more control over security. And there are also these privacy-centric cloud platforms that are starting to emerge. They prioritize data protection and compliance, so they offer a kind of balance between the convenience of the cloud and the security of an on-premise setup.
So it sounds like companies have options when it comes to finding AI solutions that are both powerful and secure.
They do.
Yeah.
But providing the right tools is only one part of the puzzle. We also need to consider the human element. Even with the best tools, employees still need training, on how to use them safely and responsibly.
Right, makes sense.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's dive into that. What kind of training are we talking about here? Is it just about teaching people how to use specific tools?
It's more than that. It's about helping employees understand the bigger picture, the implications of AI usage. For example, they need to be aware of potential biases that can sneak into AI algorithms and how to spot and fix them. They should also learn about data privacy regulations like GDPR and why it's so important to protect sensitive information.
So it's about making sure they're using AI ethically and legally?
Exactly. It's about empowering them to be responsible AI users so they can leverage these powerful tools effectively while minimizing the risks.
This all makes sense, but it's starting to sound pretty complex.
Yeah.
It feels like companies need a whole new set of guidelines and policies to manage AI properly.
You're absolutely right. That's where the idea of AI governance comes in. It's a framework that organizations can use to set clear guidelines, roles, and responsibilities for AI usage across the whole company.
Okay, so can you give me an example of what that might look like in practice?
Sure. A strong AI governance framework
Mhm.
would include things like comprehensive AI usage policy. It would outline what types of AI tools are allowed, how data should be handled, and what security protocols need to be followed. It would also include processes for reviewing and approving new AI solutions, as well as ways to monitor and audit AI usage.
So it's about having this holistic approach to AI management.
Exactly. It's about creating a structure that ensures AI is being used responsibly and ethically throughout the organization.
This all makes a lot of sense. But I can't help but think back to that statistic we mentioned, that over 60% of employees are already using AI tools. And a lot of it's probably unauthorized. How do companies even begin to rein that in? It feels like trying to herd cats.
It can definitely feel overwhelming. But there are practical steps companies can take to bring shadow AI out of the shadows, so to speak. And the first step is understanding that it's not about banning AI altogether.
So you're not saying just say no to AI.
Exactly. Remember, in many cases, shadow AI is driven by a desire to be more efficient and productive. It's about finding solutions to real business challenges. So instead of trying to completely eliminate it, which it's probably impossible anyway, the goal should be to channel that enthusiasm and creativity into a more controlled and secure environment.
Okay, so how do you do that? How do you encourage employees to use AI in a way that benefits the company without putting it at risk?
It starts with open communication. Companies need to create a culture where employees feel comfortable talking about their AI needs and concerns. With IT and management, if they're using shadow AI solutions, it's often because they don't have access to the tools they need through official channels, or they think the approval process is too slow or bureaucratic.
So you need to break down those barriers,
Yeah.
make it easier for employees to get the AI tools they actually need.
Exactly, and that goes back to having that clear AI governance framework in place. When everyone knows the rules of the road, it's much easier to navigate the complexities of AI adoption.
That makes sense. But even with clear guidelines, how can companies be sure that employees are following them? Isn't there always a risk that someone will slip through the cracks?
That's a valid concern. And that's why monitoring is such a critical part of any AI governance strategy. Companies need tools and processes to detect and address any unauthorized AI usage.
Okay, what kind of tools are we talking about here?
Well, one approach is network traffic analysis. This involves monitoring data flows to and from employee devices to see if they're accessing unauthorized AI platforms or sending sensitive data to external servers. Think of it like a digital watchdog that's constantly patrolling your network, looking for any suspicious activity.
So if someone tries to upload a bunch of customer data to some random AI chatbot, IT will get an alert.
Exactly. There are tools that can automatically flag that kind of activity so IT teams can investigate further. And then there are endpoint detection and response solutions, or EDR. These are powerful tools that monitor individual employee devices to see if they're using any unauthorized applications.
So if someone downloads a sketchy AI app
Yeah,
on their work computer, IT will know about it.
precisely. EDR solutions can even track how those apps are being used and what data they're accessing. It's a way to get a better view of what's happening on employee devices and identify potential risks before they become big problems.
This is starting to sound a little intense. Are we getting into Big Brother territory here? What about employee privacy?
That's definitely an important consideration. Any monitoring should be done transparently. And with respect for employee privacy, it's crucial to have clear policies that outline what's being monitored and why, and to get employee consent when appropriate.
So it's not about spying on employees, it's about protecting the company and its data.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance between security and privacy and making sure that AI is being used responsibly and ethically within the organization.
This has been really eye-opening. I'm seeing how complex this whole issue of shadow AI is.
Yeah.
It's not just about telling people don't use AI, it's a lot more nuanced than that. It needs a much more thoughtful and strategic approach.
I agree.
And I think we've only scratched the surface here. There's so much more to explore. We'll dig deeper into the strategies companies can use to effectively manage shadow AI and harness its potential for good. After a quick break. And you know what? I'm actually kind of curious. Are there companies out there that are doing this well? That are managing to find that balance between innovation and security?
There are. And what's interesting is a lot of them are using what they learn from shadow AI to shape their official AI strategies.
That's interesting.
Yeah, they're not just ignoring it, they're actually learning from it.
So they're actually using these shadow AI experiments as a learning opportunity.
Exactly. They're recognizing that the employees who are using these unauthorized tools, they're often the ones who are really eager to try new things. They're passionate about finding better ways of working. And by watching how employees are using these tools, companies can get valuable insights into what their employees actually need, the challenges they're facing, and how AI could potentially be applied within their specific workflows.
So it's like a testing ground for new AI tools and approaches.
Precisely. And some companies are taking it even further. They're creating these internal AI sandboxes where employees can experiment with different AI tools, but in a safe and controlled environment.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it lets them explore what AI can do without putting any sensitive data at risk. And it gives the IT and security teams a chance to evaluate these new tools and decide which ones they might want to officially adopt.
I like that approach. It's about encouraging experimentation and innovation,
Yeah.
but without losing control.
Exactly. And it's not just about finding new AI tools. It's also about discovering new ways to use AI that might not have been obvious before. Like maybe a company sees that employees are using AI chatbots to automate some of their routine tasks. And that could lead them to explore using chatbots across the whole organization to improve customer service or streamline internal processes.
So taking those shadow AI experiments and turning them into real business value.
Exactly. It's a win-win situation. Employees get the tools they need to be more productive and innovative, and the company gets to explore the possibilities of AI in a safe, controlled, and strategic way.
This is really making me rethink how I see shadow AI.
Yeah.
Sounds like if it's managed the right way, it can actually be a good thing for companies.
It can. It's all about shifting your perspective. Instead of seeing shadow AI as a threat, see it as an opportunity.
Yeah, embrace that creativity and initiative that employees are showing.
Exactly, and use it to drive AI adoption within the organization.
Well, this has been a really insightful conversation. We've learned a lot about shadow AI today, both the risks and the opportunities.
Definitely.
But most importantly, we've learned that companies need to be proactive. They need to have a plan for managing AI.
Absolutely.
And it's not about saying no to AI. It's about finding the right balance between empowering employees and protecting the company.
I completely agree.
So to our listeners out there, as you navigate this new world of AI in the workplace, remember to stay curious, stay informed, and don't be afraid to experiment.
That's great advice.
But always keep security, privacy, and ethical considerations top of mind when you're implementing AI solutions.
Yeah, absolutely.
And remember, this is a journey. The AI landscape is always changing. So be prepared to adapt and evolve along with it.
Well said.
Thanks for joining me on this deep dive.
It's been my pleasure.
It's been a great discussion. And to all our listeners out there, thanks for tuning in.